Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be back with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. I appreciate you staying connected with me, and for anyone who is listening to my podcast for the first time, I just want to mention that my podcast focuses on social and political issues, both domestic and international. But today I'll start this episode by talking about space exploration. We live on this Earth. We live on planet Earth, and we are very busy with our lives on this Earth. There are so many things that we do every day. We have our life, we have ambitions, we have goals, and there are many responsibilities and obligations. There are bills that we have to pay. We have to go grocery shopping. We have to go to work. And then we also spend time with our friends and family. We celebrate accomplishments. There are challenges that we face. We have to overcome barriers. And then, as human beings, I believe we have to think about ways that we can help each other out. And so, I focus a lot on kindness and compassion. And we are here on this beautiful Earth. It's a beautiful planet. It's so beautiful. And we must focus on how we can help others, how we can make the world a better place for everyone. And then time goes by, minute after minute, hour after hour, weeks go by, months go by, years go by, and we are very busy with our lives on this planet. But then we wonder, what's out there in the universe? We read about space exploration, and we watch documentaries, and we watch movies that discuss the solar system and our galaxy. And there's so much out there. When you look up at the sky, we can see the stars, we can see the moon, and there's just so much out there, galaxies after galaxies, and we don't know what's out there. There's so much that's not been explored yet. And so humans have not been able to explore the universe as much as we want to, but we are making progress. We are learning new things every day. And we spend time on this earth, and we wonder and we dream. And people have always wondered. I think as human beings, we are very much curious, and we think about what other beings may be out there. And we have heard the word aliens. We talk about aliens, extraterrestrial beings, and we can imagine so many things, but we don't know for sure. We don't know if there are extraterrestrial beings or aliens, as they are called. And we imagine, we speculate, we dream, but we don't know for sure if aliens exist or not. And we are limited because we are humans, and there's so much that we don't know yet. But our knowledge grows with time. We have curiosity, we want to know more, we explore, and our knowledge grows with time. It's important for us to have an open mind, and at any given point in time, we have a set of knowledge, but then over time, we learn more, we explore more, and sometimes the information that we perhaps thought was true for a long time can be proven wrong. We test new theories, and we explore, and we explore, and we explore, and we learn and learn. And that's how we know that the earth revolves around the sun. That's how we know about the planets that we have discovered and about the stars that we have discovered. And there's a lot that are still unknown. And so going back to the topic of extraterrestrial beings, do they exist? That's the question. We don't know, but we will find out sooner or later. Now, I have been saying for a long time that we need to focus on space exploration. I actually wrote about it, and I like to put my thoughts into words on paper, as I frequently do, and I said that we need to focus on space exploration. And I'm glad to see that more and more people are interested to find out what's out there in the universe. Is there life? Are there intelligent beings? Perhaps more intelligent than us. We don't know. And, let's talk about curiosity. We are curious. We are definitely curious about the possibility of extraterrestrial beings. And maybe the extraterrestrial beings, if they are out there, and I don't know if there are extraterrestrial beings and if they are looking at us or not, if they have discovered us, if they have found us or not. But if they are out there, maybe they are curious about us. Maybe they are curious about the Earth. There's so much out there that we don't know. And there are movies being made and about space exploration and about alien life, and there are fantasy movies, there are science fiction movies, and so humans genuinely have strong curiosity, and I think with time we will learn more. There's so much that we don't know, and it is this unknown that drives us forward as we continue to explore and learn. So share with me your thoughts on this. And now I'm going to talk about what's happening here on Earth. It's a beautiful Earth, as I said, but we have lots of problems. And in some places, there are more problems than other places. Now, let me talk about New York City. I've talked about New York City so many times. And in this episode, I'm going to do that again, because there are things that we need to discuss. There are problems that need to be addressed. There are issues that need to be solved. And as I said, my podcast focuses on social and political issues, both domestic and international. And so I think that with everything going on in New York City that I'm going to discuss, I need to talk about it. And so what's going on right now? Mayor Eric Adams reportedly announced that a new tent city for migrants will be going up in New York City. So there will be a new tent city, reportedly. And it'll be for housing migrants. And who's going to pay for this? Obviously, there will be costs associated with, creating a tent city. It will be paid for by American taxpayers. And so once again, just to recap, and I've talked about it in I've talked about it previously in my podcast. The government doesn't have any money. Whatever money the government has, that's taxpayer money. But the government likes to announce plans and proposals and this and that. And, there are definitely many plans and proposals that are genuinely needed. And then the government also uses our money in ways that may not be efficient. And so I'm not going to go into that discussion, but my point is that whatever the government does with with public funds. That's our money. That's taxpayer money, because the government doesn't have any money. Whatever money the government has, it collects through taxation and by imposing fees and different charges and so on and so forth. And so now Mayor Eric Adams announced that a new tent city for migrants will be going up in New York, and who's going to pay for it? American taxpayers. And so where will this tent city be located? I was reading some news reports on this, and I found out that it's going to be on Randall's Island in New York City. That will be the new spot for over 57,000 migrants. Over 57,000 migrants. Okay, so people will be living in tents in New York, and taxpayers will be paying the bill for that. Why is this happening, my friends? Why is this happening? This is happening because we have a crisis at the southern border. People in New York City are sleeping on streets because of the crisis at the southern border. And I think no human being should be sleeping on a street. Homelessness is a big issue that was there in New York, and that continues to be there in New York and in other places like Chicago and even here in Madison for a long time. And homelessness, I think, is an issue that must be solved. And New York, many New Yorkers face homelessness. American citizens face homelessness in New York City. And then on top of that, homelessness is a huge issue. But on top of that, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of new people who arrived in New York looking for housing, looking for sanctuary, because New York is a sanctuary city, looking for a place to stay, looking for food, looking for, different services that human beings need. And how did these new people arrive in New York City? Well, they arrived because our southern border is not secure, so foreign nationals are pouring into the country, and they are going to places like New York City and Chicago and Denver, and the list is long. I won't be able to list all the cities. So we have a crisis. Now, I've said this before, that any foreign national who wants to come to the United States to live and work must do so through the proper immigration process. But sadly, our border is not secure right now, and so people are coming in illegally. They're crossing the border without any visa, without any permission, without any authorization. They're coming to the United States, and they're looking for a place to stay. And that's how so many people have arrived in New York City looking for housing, and there's a crisis in New York as a result. And sadly, people are having to sleep on the streets. So if we can enforce our nation's immigration laws, if we can secure the border, then the only way that foreign nationals can enter the United States would be through the proper immigration process. If they are coming here as immigrants, then they would have to come in through the proper immigration process, but that's not happening right now. So I have been saying over and over again that we need to secure the border. We need to secure the border. These people, these migrants, are coming here because, different people have different motivations, but a lot of people are coming here hoping for a place to stay, hoping for finding work. But what's happening? Many of these people are sleeping on streets of New York. And now, Mayor Eric Adams announced that there will be a new tent city for these migrants. A tent city. People will be living in tents. So, I just wonder if there was any kind of listening session where New Yorkers could go and provide their comments on a plan, on a proposal like this. And at this point, it doesn't seem that it's a proposal. I think, based on the reports that I've been reading, it's been announced and it's going to happen. It seems. I don't think that the government put forward a proposal to let people voice their comments and opinions. I think a decision has been made already that a tent city will go up in New York City on Randall's Island. It's a major decision for a city administration to allocate space for a tent city. And I think that New York City residents should have the opportunity to express their thoughts and comments on something like this. But I'm not sure if that's happening. So if you are a New Yorker, if you are listening to this podcast and you live in New York City, please share with me your thoughts. Please share with me your thoughts and comments. You can go to my website, tawsifanam.net. You can send me a message. You can connect with me on social media. Let me know what you think. And let's not forget, my friends, that summer is coming to an end. And I wish that summer would last longer. I live in Wisconsin, so we have to deal with the cold weather for months and months. And we get heavy snow, and we get chilly weather, and so I think if summer would last longer, I would be so happy. Anyway, the reality is that summer is coming to an end, and soon it'll be fall. And New York also, it's a city on the East Coast. They get snow, they get cold weather. And so as soon as summer ends, we will be entering fall, and the weather will become chilly. And then winter will arrive. And my question is, how are people supposed to live in tents in the cold weather? That's a question that New York City residents must ask Mayor Eric Adams and his administration. How are people supposed to live in tents when it's chilly outside? When it's snowing outside? What's going to happen? Is there a long-term solution to this problem? Well, let me tell you what the solution is. Secure the border. Secure the border. We are a nation of immigrants. We need immigrants. But we want immigrants to enter the United States through the proper legal immigration process. Not by simply walking across the border. Because our border is open, people are coming in without any visa, without any permission, without authorization, and that's leading to a crisis. So we must address this issue. And the first step would be to secure the southern border. But sadly, that's not happening right now. And, in this podcast, I will continue to talk about this because it's something that we need to talk about. It's a crisis that's growing in size every single day. And let me provide some more information to you. Now, let me talk about what's happening in Chicago. When I say this is a crisis that's growing in size, there are numbers to prove that claim. In Chicago, reportedly 40 to 50 migrants from Texas arrived almost every day in the month of July. And according to Chicago city officials, approximately 12,000 migrants have arrived in the city over the last year. And where are they going to live? That's the question. Chicago is also facing a crisis, and I've talked about it before in my podcast. I was in Chicago a few weeks ago, and it is a beautiful city. There's no doubt that Chicago is a beautiful city, but it's a city that's facing a crisis. And there are lots of problems in Chicago, and I think Chicago needs good leadership, which it doesn't have right now. And therefore, there are many problems in the city. Just a few days ago, hundreds of teenagers caused havoc at a convenience store in Chicago, and it resulted in many arrests. And if we talk about the various forms of crimes taking place in the city of Chicago, I think the list is very long. The list is very long. It's a beautiful city, and Chicago needs good leaders. Leaders who can solve problems. Leaders who can address issues. Leaders who can improve the public safety situation. Leaders who can take care of the city. Leaders who can address the concerns of the city residents. Leaders who can create a more business-friendly environment. Leaders who can ensure that that people will be safe in the city of Chicago. But there are so many problems right now, and that's why I'm saying that Chicago needs good leaders. It's up to the Chicago residents to elect better leaders who can actually fix problems that the city is facing. Leaders, as I said, leaders who will address the crime problems, the homelessness problems, and many other issues that the city faces. So I've talked about New York again. I've talked about Chicago again, because there are so many things that I need to discuss. So it is my goal to bring you some updates in every episode, and to share my opinions, my thoughts, my comments on the various things that are happening in the United States and, of course, outside the United States. In this episode, I have not talked about international issues, but I will be doing that very soon. And, I invite you to stay in touch with me. Go to my website, tawsifanam.net, send me a message, connect with me on social media. And as I said before, and I think I've said that a number of times in various episodes, sign up for my e-newsletter. I have an e-newsletter that I send out to many people, and I share different updates through my newsletter. So if you would like to receive my e-newsletter, please sign up for that. You can go to my website, tawsifanam.net, and on the homepage you can scroll down towards the bottom, and there's a space where you can enter your email address and you can sign up for my e-newsletter. Also, you can leave your comments and let me know if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Whatever thoughts you may have, please share with me, okay? Through my podcast, I express my views, but I'm also always very curious to know what my listeners are thinking. So that's why I keep repeating that. Feel free to share your thoughts and comments with me. So with that, I will conclude this episode. Thank you for continuing to listen to my podcast, and I hope to be back again soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.